Hey folks, welcome back to the Digital Imaging channel. I'm Will, and today I'm going to be answering the top 10 questions we get asked about our digital ReeL hosting platform. Now these questions did not just come from me. I asked our entire sales team to put together the top questions they get. So these are the top 10 questions put together by our sales team. The first one, as you can imagine, is how much does it cost? And the answer is it depends. In most cases, it's the quantity of units that we are storing for you on digital ReeL hosting that is going to be the most significant factor determining your price. So maybe the number of boxes of paper, the number of microfilm rolls, microfiche sheets, that's typically the main driver of price. However, other things do come into play, such as the size, because hosting 10, 20, 30 gigabytes is much different than hosting multiple terabytes of data. So the more storage it takes, that can play a role in how much you pay. Security level also comes into play. So let's say we're hosting newspaper microfilm rolls for you. Much different level of security. We actually have different ways of hosting for you, so that will be a price factor. Also, the number of users that you have accessing the system. If you have 5 users accessing versus 25, different price factor. And lastly, the number of data sets. So each customer has access to digital ReeL, but they may have multiple data sets for various reasons. An example of a library, they may want to allow some of their patrons to only access a portion of their collection internally at the library, and some can be public. They may need 2 data sets for that, so they're hosting multiple data sets, not just one. But a quick way to get an idea of how much you might pay for digital ReeL hosting is to get an idea of the quantity of records that you're going to host. So if you're going to host by roll of microfilm or box of paper, for instance, you're looking at roughly $2 to $3 per roll or per box per year. Now, if you have microfiche, you're looking at something roughly around 5 to 10 cents per sheet of microfiche per year. Now, your specific project will be the driving factor of what the actual price you pay is, but this is a quick, very ballpark way to get an idea of what you might pay. The next question is digital ReeL proprietary? And yes, in the sense that it is our application, we built it, we're the only ones that are able to sell it or provide it to you and then maintain it, but the records inside of digital ReeL are not proprietary, meaning if you're hosting with us and you have 1 million images in there, so although the software and the IP is BMI's, it is proprietary, the actual images and data are yours and you can export them and get to them. They're not trapped in digital ReeL. Is digital ReeL secure? Yes, digital ReeL is secure. I'm sure you want to know, how is it secure? There are multiple levels that we use to protect your data. There's permission-based access for your users. We have multi-factor authentication, IP address restriction locking, so we can actually lock down access to your data sets by an actual location of an IP. We also have segmented hosting environments. So for various customers, we actually put their records in different compartments, let's call it, different environments where they're not intermingled with other data sets and other customers. So for instance, the newspaper microfilm hosting client, those records would not be intermingled with criminal records. Criminal records are actually in their own hosting environment, so they're not commingled. Some clients even have private hosting data sets, which means we actually buy separate hardware and servers for their specific hosting environment, so they're not even commingled with, let's say, criminal records and other criminal record clients. They have their own data set, their own servers that are completely separate from other clients. And if you're still not sure, we can actually verify what we are doing to protect your data. We run an internal security audit every year, and we also contract with a third party to get an unbiased opinion by conducting a SOC 2 Type 2 audit. Where are my records stored when we host with BMI? So we have 2 data centers. Our primary data center is in our Sunnyvale, California headquarters, and then we have a co-location site in Sacramento at NTT, which used to be called Raging Wire. When you access your records through digital ReeL hosting, you'll be pinging both those sites, and depending on speed and availability, we'll dynamically route you to the best option. This is all in the background, you won't even notice it, but that's what's happening while you access your records. Another benefit of having those 2 sites is for backup disaster recovery. So if one of our sites goes down, we automatically fail over to the other site, so your records are still available if there's a disaster. Does digital ReeL support single sign-on? And yes, at this time, we currently support Google single sign-on. What are the implementation options? So we're already talking about hosting, but there is another option, which is an on-site install. Now, on-site used to be much more prevalent 10, 15, 20 years ago. When we first started digital ReeL, there was only an on-site option, but over the past 5 years or so, we've gone much more significantly towards hosting. Very few clients actually want the on-site install. Maybe 5% of all of our digital ReeL clients are on-site compared to hosting. How can I get my data if I discontinue hosting with Digital ReeL. If you decide Digital ReeL isn't for you anymore, which we hope that's not the case, we can provide you with what we call cropped images from the Digital ReeL hosted website. So if you say, listen, I'm done, I'm not gonna renew, I don't wanna host anymore, we can get you those images. Typically what we'll do is export the files in some sort of file-based indexing system. So let's say you had 1,000 rolls of microfilm hosting with us, we'd export the files by role using a role level folder and then all the images from each role in that folder. Or if maybe you had the records indexed or bookmarked in Digital ReeL, let's say going back to newspapers, you had issue date indexing within the hosting app, then we could provide multi-page files based on those index points. Now, another thing you can do if you're actually starting a project with us and you're going to be hosting, instead of waiting till later on and say, well, do I need to get my files out now? What do I do? A lot of our clients just get those cropped images at the beginning. So while we're scanning your records and actually importing and loading to Digital ReeL, we can provide those images to you on a USB SFTP site, so get them to you electronically. So even though you're hosting, you have your own set of images already on hand. So if you ever do decide to discontinue hosting, you already have the images. It's also good to have that backup. So although we have our hosting, our redundant sites, we have those colo sites, you have your own copy of it, so you have that just extra assurance that the images are safe. This one's a little bit dark, but we do get asked it fairly often is, what if BMI goes out of business? Well, it kind of goes right back to that, what do I do if I discontinue hosting with you question, which is we can provide the images to you at a later date, or if you're going to start hosting with us, you can get those images early on, so if anything ever does happen to BMI, which we don't plan to, you already have those images and that data on hand and don't have to worry about it. Is conversion done at my office, or do I have to get the records to you? So this kind of goes more towards the actual scanning of the records than the hosting of Digital ReeL, but it's still a valid question and does tie in. So we have done on-site projects. It's something we do get asked a lot. It depends on the project, but we can do them for you. But typically if you have film or fiche, you're gonna send them to us. Even paper projects, we prefer to do at our facility just because we're set up for that. Now, regardless of where the actual conversion and scanning and whatnot takes place, all the back-end processing, the indexing, the importing to Digital ReeL, the software development, that's all done at our facility. So we wouldn't be doing any software development or loading of Digital ReeL at your site necessarily. That's done at our location, at our headquarters in Sunnyvale. Can I scan and upload files directly to Digital ReeL? The answer is yes. This is a feature we can enable for you so you can scan your records straight into Digital ReeL. There they are, the top 10 questions we get asked about Digital ReeL hosting. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe to continue to get videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.